Hello and welcome back to Building on a Budget Models. I'm Thomas and this is the first part of the Mercedes-AMG GT3 in 1/24th scale by Tamiya. Now this is a fairly new tooling from Tamiya and the mould lines are pretty imperceptible. However, there are two just either side of the kind of boot lid and a couple on either side of the bonnet along here. Used a very fine sanding stick from Ultimate Modelling Products to remove these without much issue. It's always worth to check them again once you've primed them though. Now then there's a few pieces like the front and rear bumper and some vents to go in, also sanding down the burrs to make sure they're smooth. This fits in perfectly. This, I have to say, is one of the best fitting kits I've ever come across. There are lots of slots and tabs which help the parts piece together, and these also make it really easy to add glue underneath. There are then several vents and slots and things like that to go in different parts, two at the back here, and two here on either side of the rear window. Those have some mould lines you might need to deal with afterwards. And two just around here where the exhaust pipes will go. And then there's also this one in the middle of the bonnet. There'll be another vent that goes here later. Now then there's two holes in the roof to be drilled for an aerial and another piece. The one in the centre is a 1mm drill bit and the one at the back is 1.5mm. I then primed it with Tamiya fine grey primer and then also sanded down some of the bits where you could see the joins between the parts. Then gave it another prime before doing it in two coats of TS100 light gunmetal semi-gloss from Tamiya. Now there are also these vents here that go just in front of the doors. I was worried about getting paint into these, and also there's a couple of decals, so I did this separately, and then when I was happy that the decals were in the right position, I then added them to the bodywork. There are also some nice tabs here, and the joining was pretty much seamless. The colour looks perfect too. It was then time to do some of the decals. The livery here is based on the livery that it was shown in the 2015 Geneva Motor Show, so this wasn't really used in any races, but I decided to add my custom spin to it. These yellow decals on the side go all the way behind the front wheel, so it's important that you piece together all of these parts first. I also used a very sharp new craft blade to cut in some of the panel lines. I'm pretty happy with how it looks so far. It's then time to do some of the carbon fibre features. Now this little hole here needs to be black, so I painted that first and then put the carbon fibre over the top. It's a really nice addition having this, makes the car look that little bit more realistic. In some of the early versions of this car, the position of the vents for the exhausts and these decals were swapped around. The AMG logos are made up of two parts. Firstly, there's the white pattern with the AMG letters, and then on top of that there are some chrome letters which I would add the following day when I was sure that these had set properly. Now I decided to base it on this livery, which was used at the Nürburgring in October 2015. This was the first time it was driven competitively. Basically, it's the standard livery, but using a few custom decals and a few which I've ordered from Interdecal, I should be able to replicate the livery quite nicely. These numbers, 16 patches here, were printed off by me at home. Decided to put down a white decal underneath them to try to hide the number 1 decal as best as possible. If I thought about this earlier, I probably would have cut off the number 1 completely, but never mind. When I was happy that these decals had set on the bonnet, I also used a craft blade to cut down the middle. And there were a few other extra sponsors which I printed off myself. Some of them I wasn't able to print off because they were white or because they need to go on the tyres, so I've ordered them and they'll come later. Here you can see the chrome AMG logos going on top of the white ones. I used UMP Decal Solution Strong for some of these, which really helped them bond to the semi-gloss paint. There was also extra carbon fibre decals that went on the front lip down here. Now when it came to the suspension and brakes, I first painted them in silver and then used some Tamiya gold leaf paint for the centres and the brake calipers. Now the floor, which was done in semi-gloss black, had this lip added to it at the front. I didn't paint this because I wanted to put the decals on top of it later anyway, but the clamps really helped secure it into place. So then the carbon fibre decals just went straight on top, hiding all of it. So by not painting it, it meant that I kept it as smooth as possible. For the front axles, these parts were painted semi-gloss black, and then the polycap goes in the middle and you then secure them to the brakes. Make sure that you get them the right way around. Now I took this tip from Tom at the Scale Modelling channel to use a marker pen to add details like the coils. Pretty happy with that. Now these parts that go around the wheels, I only painted the outside as the inside parts won't be visible at all. This also meant that gluing it in was a lot easier. When they're all in place, it's quite simple to slot the suspension into the middle. Both are identical, so it doesn't matter which way round they go. And they turn really, really nicely. Adding some black panel liner is a really good way of picking out the kind of vent details on these brake discs. A cotton bud can always clear up any excess. There are also some AMG decals that went on the brake calipers themselves. Now for the back, it was very similar. I used some super glue to make sure that this was really, really secure. These parts here needed to be yellow and black, but I decided to just do in black. Then the double wishbone suspension is made up of these two layers here, which clip together in the middle. This is quite a nice way of doing things, as it means that you can assemble all of it before putting it together. Keep one pin on the bottom of this suspension part. And then when it's all been put together, you can quite simply just clip it into the floor of the car. Then there's another piece there that goes on top. There's also one little bit here that goes at the back of the diffuser. That's painted black. And there's the floor of the car. I'll work on some more of the details like the interior next time. And here it is with the bodywork on top. This kit is so well made, it has really fallen together so far, and I've been really enjoying it. Thanks a lot for watching. Please do leave a comment down below about how I'm getting on. Have you built this kit? If so, which livery did you use? Thanks for watching.